Hi again, this is another knee-jerk reaction video review. Knee-jerk review, I'm still kind of new at this, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. And I know not a lot of people are watching the video reviews, but I do have a lot of fun. I talk about things that I know about, things that I feel about. Uh, so this movie I did, this knee-jerk reaction means I'm reviewing the movie within minutes of watching it. I just watched this movie, the Villisca. I live here and I have trouble saying it. The Villisca Axe Murders. And I love a good horror movie, and I love suspense and horror and a good ghost story. I love a good mystery with a ghost in it. I just live for those. Uh, and this movie, it's about, the reason I watch is because I live in Iowa, and of course, the Villisca Axe Murders are very well known. And I've read about them a lot, so I kind of know the movie made up a few things, but I'd have to go back. I haven't had a chance to do that, but I'd have to go back and read up on the Axe Murders to see like what parts they made up for the movie. But if you didn't know, it's a true story. There is a house here in Iowa, and the movie said 1912. Again, I'd have to verify that, but yes, there was like this whole family was murdered with an axe, which is really, and they all were in their bed, so it's like someone went from bed to bed and murdered all these people. And it's strange because it's like you would have thought one of them would have woke up and tried to escape, but that's not what happened. But anyway, it was never solved. It was never, no one ever was convicted of these murders. And of course, this house became known as the most haunted spot in Iowa. Now, I've done other videos. I've done a lot of Facebook stuff where I just visit all these haunted spots in Iowa, and I haven't made it there yet. It is pricey. You could spend the night there. I think it was like $800 a night. And you could bring, I think the limit was 6 people. And I'm like, whoa, you know. And of course, you spend the night there, and it's just like any other bed and breakfast, I guess. But it's supposed to be haunted. You're supposed to hear things. But they make money on this, so I'm always there. It's like I'm not going to spend $800 to learn that, you know, they put some kind of sound device in the wall to make it moan. But you know, so you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. They are in the business of making money. It's one of the few places I know where there's like, here's this big house, and this horrific murder took place in there, and you can actually pay to sleep in the rooms where these people were murdered. I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. Whatever floats your boat. I don't mind a good haunted spot. I've been in a lot of cemeteries and stuff, and I've just never made it to this house. But it is well known. It is a true story. So when that's one of the reasons I watched it. I was like, I wonder how much, you know, they're going to rely on, you know, on the story and stuff. So what they did was they took the original Axe Murders, and they injected. And see, each horror movie has their own mythology. So they injected this entity into this movie where, you know, something took over somebody and caused the murders, and now these kids broke into the house, and now they're causing murders. And it's like, I don't know, as a horror movie, I actually found myself kind of bored at times. The pacing wasn't the best. I don't know, the suspense wasn't the best, and of course there's a gorgeous girl who ends up topless, and you're just like, this is all so cliche. You got, you know, 2 friends, and then this girl that's new, and, you know, she's hitting on one of the guys, but she dated these 2 bully, you know, this bully and there's 2 bullies, and, you know, these 3 kids break into the house because they want to do a video on the Axe Murder house, and, you know, of course, the bullies show up to bully them. And at no time did they mention, like, oh, this house might have an alarm system. Or someone could see them turning the lights on and off. Or, you know, that kind of was a suspension of belief. And then, you know, that's what's funny about a horror movie. I can take the mythology and, you know, there's this entity, and, you know, you can tell when someone's possessed because their eyes turn black. And, you know, that's kind of cliche too, but I can take that kind of suspense of belief, because that's the whole point of a horror movie, is to believe in horror. But then to suspend my belief that, hey, here's this famous axe murder house and there's lights being turned off and on, and no one's going to investigate. There's no alarm system on this house. I bet people try to break into it all the time. Um, that kind of suspension of belief, I don't know. It's funny how I can do one thing but not the other. But anyway, the entity, and the ghosts from the past come alive, and it's just your basic ghost story. But I don't know. I found myself wishing I could just fast forward through some of the parts, and it was kind of predictable. I'm like, okay, sooner or later this bully guy's gonna die, and then they delve into the past of the kids, and you find out all these kids had horrible pasts, and the girl got drunk once and made this horrible sex video, and it got out, and everyone's got this something in their past, and the entity kind of draws on this to make these people kill for it. And are some creepy spots. There are some good ghost story cliches that I like to watch. But overall, I don't know. I can't say this was a great movie. I can't say it was a terrible movie. It was just your average run-of-the-mill ghost story. I would shoot right down the middle. I don't know. Maybe watch this movie if there's, if you're from Iowa, it's kind of interesting because, as they drive into Valencia, they show these, how flat it is, and like there's a stop sign, and you can probably see the stop sign from 20 miles away, and that's what Iowa really is like, and that's what I struggle with on a daily basis. I go for a drive, and that's, in England, when I lived in England, you can see a church, and before that church disappears out your rear window, you see the next church. There's just church after church after church. Here in Iowa, it's the same thing, only with silos. So, you see a silo, and by the time that silo is like in your rearview mirror, you're seeing the next silo. And then you'll see a water tower, and you look at the name on the water tower, and that's how you know where you are. Oh, we're in Valencia. Villisca, whatever. I'm saying the wrong word. But, as a movie goes, I don't know, it kind of, I wonder if what kind of rights they had from the house. Did they, I don't know, like the house, like, was this an advertisement for the house? Because you can spend the night there, and I'm sure after this movie comes out, there's going to be more people wanting to spend the night there, because there was an incident where one of the people spending the night there stabbed themselves, and of course in the movie, one of the kids stabs himself, and at the end of the movie there was a disclaimer like, hey, we know someone stabbed themselves in our house, but that has no relation to this movie, wink wink. But that's what it basically boiled down to me, was like they actually took some clip. I don't know if they're real clips or if they're for the movie, but they took some clips of people spending a night in the house and what they were saying about it. They gave a little bit of the history, and again, I can't verify that the history of the movie was the actual real history, that what happened. I'm sure some of it was made up. What was the one thing? And again, remember, this is a knee-jerk reaction video, so I just saw it, and it's still mulling around in my mind. But there was something where I was like, okay, I know that part is made up. I don't know if this part, I remember reading something about that, but no. But yeah, they did a good job making a video that made you want to stay in a haunted house, but I don't know, it was very cliched. The acting was okay. A lot of unknown people I've never seen before. It almost had the taste of, it is an indie film, so it is, I love indie films. They do have a lot of unknown people, and maybe 1 or 2 stars that show up, and that's exactly what this was. But you get an indie feel to it. Indie films don't have a lot of budget. They don't have a lot of special effects. They don't have a lot of different scenes, and they're doing this on a budget, and you did get the feel for that. But I didn't find anything really wrong with the acting. It was good acting. These people probably do have a future in acting, because at no point I think, oh, this is, what was that movie I watched the other way? I did a review on it, and then I think it was Ouija something, but the acting was horrible in that movie. It was like watching a high school play, and Actually, it was like watching the rehearsal of a high school play. But but this movie actually had some genuine acting. It had a good mythology. It just didn't present it as well as I would have liked. And I'm an aficionado of horror movies, and so it's easy for me to pick it apart. But it was run of the mill ghost story. I would give it, and it's in the middle of the road for me. So it's like 5 stars out of 10, or 50 ghosts out of 100, maybe a little bit higher, 60 ghosts out of 100. Maybe a date movie, maybe a movie where you're not actually paying attention to it, like you're mopping the floor while you get your movie on. And I make that comparison, like, what would you use this movie for at the end of a lot of my reviews? And you know, date. I don't know if this would be a date movie, but yeah, maybe it would be a date movie. It's always good to get someone scared and cuddled up to you. Um, I don't know. I just middle of the road. It's called Villisca Axe Murder. Well, I'm not exactly sure what the name of the movie was, but look for Villisca Axe Murder. That's in the title. And yeah, I only watched it because, like I said, that's one of the I've been to. I always look at all these lists of the 10 most haunted places in Iowa, and of course that's always number 1 or 2. And I've been to like literally all the other ones. I've been to the Ghost Bridge and a Sane Asylum and all these other places, haunted cemeteries and all kinds of places. Oh, the statue down south, the Black Angel. But one thing I never did was visit this Villisca Axe Murder House, and I don't know. I'm not into a haunted space that's capitalizing on something to make money. And if it was just a house, maybe an empty house that you can go in and go through, even tour, and you can take tours of the house. You don't have to spend the night there. That'd be one thing. But they, 800, might have been 500, to $800, for 6 people to spend the night in the house. And of course, you've got ghost hunters and people who are amateur ghost hunters and people who bring in EKG meters and voice recorders and stuff, and trying to find something in this house. And like I said, if they're making money on it, who knows, they might have put something in the wall, in the excuse me, in the wall to make money. But of course the movie just puts an entity in there, and of course there's no such thing as a ghostly entity. And at the end the ghost saves the day, and I kind of hate that kind of thing. And spoiler alert, too late. But yeah, middle of the road ghost story. Watch it. If you're not into ghost stories, you'll probably really enjoy it, but I've seen too many to not see every cliche and stuff. But yeah, watch it if you have never seen a ghost story. I don't know. I always hate it when I'm on the fence about things. I never know how to finish up. But I'll say 50-50. Watch it if you like ghost stories, or if you don't normally watch ghost stories. If you're really into ghost stories, you might find it a little disappointing. Or put it on when you're doing something else, or a date movie. But 50-50. I give it 50 stars out of 100, right down the middle. And that was the Villisca Axe Murder House. I've got to wrap this up because I'm rambling, so have a good day.